Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So today is Tuesday, and it is my fourth day here in New Mexico, and I've been finding it a lot easier to do no-fap and intermittent fasting. I think this is the first time in my life where I've comfortably been on both at the same time, right? Fasting 18 to 20 hours every day and maintaining a no-fap for how many days? March 9th was the last time I fapped. So 5 full days now. It's not a common occurrence for me to push this far, actually. This is probably only the first time in, I would say, amongst the first 7 or 8 times I've pushed through this far. I lose a lot of these at 3 days. Usually 3 is a big barrier to push through. I think 1 week is also another big barrier that I have to push through. But I want to switch gears to my quiet quitting that I've been doing at my workplace. Now that I've been off for almost a week, I come to realize on reflection that it's not so much working with the students that I dislike. I work at a tutoring center. No, I love that part of it. It's all the busy work, the paperwork, the hassles, the scheduling conflicts. You know, I hate to say it here, but there are some people who are terrible at managing, and they make the work feel so much heavier than it has to be. And to give you an idea, when I was scheduling my vacation, I wanted to find out when my boss was going on vacation, because I wanted to go a different week than the week he wanted, because that way I can enjoy my vacation. And more importantly, I can enjoy working while he's on vacation, because I really enjoyed it when he was on vacation for a week last winter. And the students enjoyed it too. They got to enjoy the real me, not the me who has to pretend in front of my boss. Let's just put it that way. I can't really go into more detail, but the point is the work feels so much heavier when the boss is around for no good reason. It's not like the students are getting more. I think part of it is he probably has to. This is a franchise that we work at. He probably has to show various things to the owners or something like that. Just too much paper pushing, right? Just like our tax system, right? It's not very effective at raising taxes. Similarly, all the rules that the franchise sets isn't very effective at getting the students what they need, right? It kind of feels like that. And so I made it a rule to only go on vacation when my boss isn't. That way I get to enjoy both vacations. That's kind of the rule that I've set for myself now. Fortunately, he's there this week, so that's good. But when I go back there, I'll have to think hard about something. So one of the big frustrations I realized, because when I woke up this morning and the last couple of mornings, the first thing that hits me is, oh my God, I don't have to pay attention to the time. See, when I was working, even though I only work part-time over there, it feels like the whole day has become a racing clock, right? Like, for example, if I have to start my shift at 12 or 1 o'clock, and it's like 9 or 10, it puts a limit to what can be going on, right? I can't really fire up my furnace. I do bismuth art. That stuff takes time to cool down. I don't want somebody to accidentally knock over the bismuth when it's still hot, right? I live with roommates, and so I can't really fire that up, and I can't really, there are places I love to be going, certain errands that have to be done, and, you know, it puts a limit to where you can be, right? If you got to be somewhere at 12, by the time 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock comes, it kind of already puts a geographical limit. It puts a limitation on your body as well, right? You can't be strung out on something at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You got to be bathed and showered by 11, right? So the point is that the work spills over, right? What should be a 4-hour workday ends up being more like 8 hours when you add the limitations to what can be done. That's what I despise. I despise all the spillover. The hours that I actually do work, I love them. Now, where it gets really wacky is sometimes I get these split shifts, and there's like an hour unpaid break in between. Now that would not be a problem except for the fact that the center is kind of in a weird area where there's nothing close I can go to. I so much wish there was like a nearby like library where I could sit down, or somewhere where I could plug in my computer, get Wi-Fi. Now you might ask, why can't I do it at the office? The problem is that as long as I'm sitting in there, my boss will always chime in with various things, suggestions, comments, various cleaning chores to do around the office, and he takes advantage of that. And so, but then there's nowhere to go either. I sometimes almost think that he deliberately schedules stuff like that to get free busy work out of me. I sometimes almost feel it's done that way. I mean, one time I was a little bit more passive-aggressive than I should have been, but one time he had chimed in on various things during my 1 hour break, and I wanted so badly to tell him that this is my time, could you please respect it? But instead, after the shift, I went to fill in my time card. I added 15 minutes for all the nonsense that he had jabbered about during that time. I didn't expect him to pay me. I was using that as a, hey, don't do this, right, to tell him that. But so later that week, I get my pay stub, and he paid it. I don't know if it was by accident, he didn't see what I had written down, or maybe he thought he had made a mistake and decided to make up for it. But the following week, he didn't do that nearly as much, so it was weird. But that's the kind of conundrum I run into, right? I never run into conundrums with the students. Actually, I did with one student last week. I got to think about how to apologize to him. I had a split shift just like that last week. It was 3 to 6, and then there was a 7 to 8. And by the time the 7 o'clock student came, it was only one student at that 7 to 8 hour. He came and he was wasting my time. He was talking about some sporting activities he was involved in. He was talking about a fight he had with another guy over a girlfriend, stuff like that, and wasting my time. After I had stayed much longer than I had I not had him, right? It was Thursday night. I was about to head out to New Mexico after him. He comes in to waste my time. And I normally might have been more gentle about this, but this was at least the second or third time he had come in like that. And the end result is I put my fist on the table, and everybody turned their head to look at us, and I think both of us were pretty embarrassed by that. I normally wouldn't have been so frustrated, except for the scheduling. That's what I meant by all the busy work and all the scheduling. It's all that. I need to quit that part, but keep the tutoring job. I don't know how to do that. So if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.